Hello everyone and welcome to my secondary bench press day, which is a Larsen press today. So with Larsen press, feet will come off the ground when you're doing the movement, which is going to increase your range of motion a little bit because you can't get as much thoracic extension, but also you can't get leg drive. So I actually tend to feel this through my chest a lot more than a standard bench press, probably because the range of motion is a little bit more, but also reducing the leg drive. That helps a lot with me, especially having longer arms too. And I tend to not have a super wide bench grip because it just feels a bit too uncomfortable. So forgot to film my very early warm-up sets, but here we are doing 75 kilos. I'm still trying to rehab my right shoulder a little bit. So I didn't push it up as far as I would have wanted to generally today, but I had zero issues whatsoever, and I took it all to probably around about an RPE 7-ish on all of my working sets. So I'll run you through all those pretty well now, but the main reason for doing this variation of bench pressing for me is A, because I like to vary the bench press a little bit. I don't just like being super specific with just standard bench press all the time. It gets a bit boring, and I don't feel it in specific, like with my chest, I don't feel it in the chest as much as I do, say, this variation or just a standard feet up bench press. So I really like it from that standpoint. I do need to try and be a little bit more consistent with my pauses on this. I probably let that get away from me a little bit, but that's something to work on next time. So 9 reps first set, roughly around the RPE 7, and then 8. I believe I got 8, and then I got 7 again after that. But yeah, main thing with this, I'm trying to squeeze my glutes really hard and cue pulling my sternum up to the bar. So a problem I have had in the past on pretty much all bench press variations is as the bar comes down towards my chest, I tend to lose a little bit of that thoracic extension position, and instead I'll just drop and the bar will sort of dump down onto my chest and my shoulders will lose that retracted position at the scapula, and I'll go into more of an internally rotated shoulder position, which A, probably isn't fantastic for my shoulders in the long run, but it also isn't that efficient for me to bench press. It just doesn't feel comfortable. Like, you can see some high level bench pressers who do it and get away with it. And that works for them, which is great, but I just don't feel it is that comfortable for me, and it just doesn't seem to transfer or translate to heavier work very well. So cueing, pulling my sternum up to the bar, and I'm squeezing my glutes really hard here because I want to try and emphasize a really stable position when I don't have my feet on the ground, because that's something I tended to struggle with when I first started doing this variation of bench press. I really found it a little bit unstable, but once you actually get used to it and figure out those cues that work for you, it's actually not unstable at all. And it's been really, really good at helping me get just a little bit extra out of the bench press rather than just doing extra bench pressing on its own for those reasons like I said before. So 4th set here, it's still moving pretty well, but like I said, I want to try and become a little bit more consistent with my pauses so I can start working harder on that next time. But again, I just wanted to mostly get through this with those cues of pulling my sternum up to the bar and not having any shoulder problems. That was the other plus. So got through that pretty well, moved pretty smoothly, and onwards and upwards for the next one. So after that, moving into supine grip chin-ups. And I didn't realize, but it's funny, filming from this angle makes it look like I'm cutting every rep pretty short, but I was actually getting my chin over the bar for pretty much all of my reps. You'll see some people like to get their chest to the bar, but I find when I do that, like the rep with chin-ups and pull-ups and whatnot, it gets harder as you get to the top, whereas most other exercises, it's harder when the muscles are in a lengthened position, i.e. if it was this exercise, you'd be at the bottom. I find that once it once I start really trying to push my chest up to the bar, I lose that ability to really just try and feel it through my lats, and it becomes more again that internally rotated shoulder position, and I'm trying to just artificially get more range of motion, but that could be just because I'm weak, or it could be because I have really long arms. I'm not really sure, but that's just where I'm at with it at the moment. I might change my mind on that down the line. Overhead presses here with dumbbells, no back support. I've been enjoying these because I've been feeling them through my shoulders a lot. And I'm also enjoying a little bit more instability without using back support. So again, just a change that I have subtly made there, and hopefully that'll transfer into doing some stronger lifts with back support down the line. But I'm mostly using overhead press as an accessory just to help build my shoulders and my overhead pressing strength. Moving on to some shrugs, I had my little helper down there on the right as well. He got a bit more interested as the set went along. But the only reason I've added these in at the moment is because I hurt my shoulder doing dumbbell flies, and I was doing dumbbell flies in this slot. So I decided just to take away that extra chest movement, especially that isolated chest movement that just put me in a little bit of an uncomfortable position, and I've decided to work on the upper traps just for the period of time. So getting through them pretty well. I haven't done basically any upper trap or neck work, so I thought I'd add just a bit extra there while I've got the chance to do so, but I'll probably chop that out again for an additional chest accessory movement in the next block of training if my shoulder holds up to it. And then moving on to some triceps, I've been really loving these. They hurt a lot through the triceps, and they get that long head of the tricep, which you don't tend to do much of if you're just doing, say, a bench press alone. So you need your shoulders in a flexed position so you can really stretch out that long head of the triceps. And this one works really, really well. It hurts a lot, but I feel it also a lot through the triceps, and you get a great stretch. So for my long head tricep work, I've been using these in conjunction with skull crushers, but prior to that I was just doing 2 sessions a week of these, and they actually got me a long way. And I like them because if skull crushers can become a bit irritable to, say, your elbows, these are a lot less irritable. So I've been really enjoying a session or 2 of those every week. And then I did a little bit of side bending. So I wanted to try and do some sort of trunk work that wasn't just like forward backward type motion in both a movement / anti-movement type of, I guess, exercise. So I've been really enjoying the side bends because they feel really, really good on my obliques and my QLs, and it's just felt really nice to train them in an isolated position. And when I say isolated, obviously there's more muscles that are involved in that, but I've been really enjoying just the ability to feel them working, and I think it's actually hopefully going to transfer to my bracing pattern down the line if I can sort of thicken out through those muscles a little bit. So side bends, and then finishing off with some single arm cable biceps curls. I have been doing a lot of dumbbell incline curls instead of these. This is my first session doing these, in fact. I just got a little bit sick of the incline curls, and I felt a little bit stale on them. They hadn't really moved anywhere in probably the last 3 weeks, so decided to give these a go. I'm not 100% sure if I like them yet. I'm still trying to figure out a way that I can cue myself to try and isolate that actual bicep in the curl a little bit better, but I'm trying to get, so as I pull back, I'm trying to get a little bit more extension through the shoulder just to bring in that long head of the biceps more. So knocked out those, but felt pretty good. But as I said, not 100% certain if I like them yet, but that was the session pretty much. So thanks for watching.